It is one of the earliest and best preserved examples of this type in Anatolia. The date of the original construction of this church must be placed at the 6th century AD. It is an approximately square plan 14 by 14.5 m and has 3 naves. The central nave was covered by a dome, while the side naves were vaulted. The apse has a round inner and 3-facete outer face. The entrance to this church is through the 3 doors at the west. Through the north and south-oriented gates in the side naves, access was provided to the domed chapels joined to the eastern part of the church at a later date. In the archaeological excavations in Kaunos to date, remains of 4 churches have been found. Without doubt, the most important of these is the domed church, built upon the plateau known as the Palestra Terrace. The general plan of the church and the style of the architectural pieces in it, such as the column capital, help us to date it to mid-6th century. The domed church is built upon the center of an artificial terrace situated on the saddle connecting Sivrihiza Hill to the Big Acropole. Its dimensions are 73 to 85 meters. Inside the building and around it, some stones are found which are thought to belong to liturgy. Among these, the ones that we believe belong to the amban are the amban balcony stone, a pole and 2 parapets belonging to the amban, and the stair barriers of the amban. The height of the amban balcony, the number of steps to it, and the type of support it used to stand on are unknown. On the other hand, a monumental column capital and a column head found fallen right near the amban balcony stone makes one think that these might have been used to lift the platform. There is not an obvious clue hinting at the location of the amban. The stone is an amban balcony stone with stairs on opposing sides, and these types of ambans are usually traced to between the second half of the 5th century and the 6th century. The domed basilica, dated to the 6th century, is one of the critical buildings of Kaunos belonging to the early Christian period. There are 2 chapels on the east of the basilica, adjacent the main walls of the building. These buildings are called the North Chapel and the South Chapel. It is known that the walls of the chapels and the domed basilica are decorated. Although the wall level has been largely preserved, traces of the mural painting in the domed basilica are also quite limited. In situ, examples found on all 4 walls of the structure show that all the walls are covered with wall painting. In the South Chapel, the only painted surface is the apse semicircle. We know the most about the decoration in the North Chapel. Since a very limited part of the main walls of the North Chapel has been preserved, in situ surfaces offer very few ideas for decoration. However, during the excavations carried out in 2007, a large number of painted blocks were found in the middle of the structure. These findings reveal the painting repertoire of the North Chapel. Based on in situ, only the depiction of the pedestal of a column has been found, on which animal, plant and religious symbolic depictions were included in the painted blocks recovered from the excavations. In this study, the murals of the domed Basilica of Kaunos, the North Chapel and the South Chapel are examined iconographically, and the Northern Chapel wall paintings are suggested to be dated to the early Byzantine period. The domed basilica, the earliest church ruins of Kaunos, was built on a structure dating from the previous period in the sacred area called Demeter Terrace. The existence of the sanctuary, which has probably been in service since the 4th century BC, was decisive for the construction of the church at this point. Two structures called the North Chapel and the South Chapel were added to both sides of the east of the domed basilica, adjacent to the building. The domed basilica is a three-naved building extending in the east-west direction. The central nave is wider than the side naves. The entrance to the building is provided through an opening in the west, on the axis of the apse wall. In the building with a single narthex, there are three openings from the narthex to the naos. The apse wall located to the east of the central nave is inside a round enclosure from the inside and has three facades from the outside. Although the main walls of the building are solid, its cover has not been preserved. However, during the field work carried out, elements related to the dome were discovered in ruins in the naos. Dated to the end of the 5th century or the beginning of the 6th century, it is one of the oldest and best preserved examples of the domed basilica type in Anatolia. Zer dated the structure to before the 7th century, when this area was abandoned. The North Chapel is located on the northeastern facade of the domed basilica. It is a building measuring 5.31 by 4.91 meters, approximately square in plan and with a round apse both inside and outside. The base of the building, where entirely spoliar sandstone and a small amount of marble blocks were used in the construction of the walls, is covered with marble blocks. The floor of the South Chapel, located on the southeast facade of the basilica, is covered with mosaics, unlike the North Chapel. These two small structures and the narthex were added to the basilica later.